Here we are, season 3, a new season of the No Excuses Coaching Podcast. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I'm renewed. I've returned from some days, unexpected days away. And let's do it. Season 3. Boom.
We're excited because this season is going to be all about social media.
Well, that's not the only reason I'm excited. I'm excited about a lot of things, but also that social media.
Yay for social media.
Yes. Season 3, social media season, No Excuses podcast with I think we're going to sprinkle in some artificial intelligence spice.
Yes.
Because I'm using AI a lot in my business now, and it is making my life easier, and it is improving the quality of the work that I'm doing. It really is.
Same with me.
Welcome, everybody. It's season 3. This season, we're talking about social media, which, by the way, if you're a coach or a hypnotist or an online service provider, is really important in your business, and it's becoming more important. And we're going to talk about why. We're going to sprinkle in artificial intelligence because same thing. It's already important, and it's going to continue to get more important. It's something you need to be ahead of the curve on, ideally. And that's season 3. And this is the first episode of season 3.
And this first episode is really going to be a rally cry. That's what I'm kind of terming this episode as. It's going to be like a huge boost for all of you listening to show up and be bold and be visible and get online and share your gifts with the world.
Only if you want your dreams to come true and your business to flourish. If you want your dreams to come true and your business to flourish, you should really pay close attention to what we talk about in this episode. If you want your dreams to fizzle and your business to slowly dissolve, you should just turn this episode off right now.
Yeah.
Bold claims.
Very.
Bold claims from Ryan and Alana. And let me tell you, that's what the episode's about. Being bold.
Yeah.
Getting out there. The episode title, unless it's changed by the time we publish this episode, which is a distinct possibility, but the episode title, Social Media Game Changer, subtitle, How Boldness Creates Unstoppable Success. We're going to get into the how, but just that sentence right there. Are you being bold in your efforts to attract clients? Are you being bold in your work to get your important, vital message and service in front of the people who desperately need it or enthusiastically need it? Are you being bold out there? Because this is one of the defining factors, one of the differences between people in our industry that are out there crushing it and changing lives and, people who are not.
Yeah. When you think of being bold, what comes up for you is something that's really important. First question I want to ask is, when you're scrolling through Instagram, who are the people that stop you dead in your tracks? They're probably people who are being bold, right? They're people who are showing up, talking about stuff that's maybe a little bit controversial. They're sharing vulnerable posts. They're asking really introspective questions that make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, right? So chances are you love that bold content. So what is it that could potentially be preventing you from being bold as well? And I think a lot of this stems from feelings of like getting it wrong, or feelings of shame, or feelings of being a little bit embarrassed, because I don't know about you, Ryan, but like I grew up being told that being bold is wrong, and, drawing too much attention to myself is not ladylike or whatever. Right. So chances are there's listeners out there who kind of may have some feelings coming up about like being bold or showing up or, really bringing attention to themselves.
Yeah. Okay. That is a good first question. What comes to mind for me, like off the bat, is, okay, well, clearly in this episode, we're going to make the argument that you should, if you want to be successful, grow your coaching business, attract clients, you need to be bold. What does it mean to be bold? I mean, there's the obvious definition of being enthusiastic, unapologetic, but there's also more subtle aspects or more subtle qualities of a person who is bold in their business. In my opinion, being unapologetically consistent in your messaging is part of being bold. Showing up doesn't just necessarily mean bursting through walls and kicking down doors. Showing up means being present, being there, being visible, being discoverable, not hiding. These are all parts, these are qualities of someone who is bold in their business endeavor. Would you agree?
I would agree. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's that person who, a year from now is still showing up, right? Still doing the things, to still talking about the same stuff and not backing down, right? Like not backing away.
Showing your face,
Yeah.
airing your voice, talking, right?
Yeah.
There are coaches who don't talk, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We need you to get out there and talk. People need to hear what you have to say if you want them to become clients.
You have to go out there and share, what you believe too, I think is really important. Like really kind of figuring out like, what do you believe about the work that you do, and share those beliefs with the people who are following you.
Yeah. Do it. Yeah. Okay. So we've touched a little bit on what does it mean to be bold, the more subtle aspects of being bold. A lot of it, I think, is that, it's summed up with, show up, share your message, be borderline obnoxious sometimes. A lot of, and here's the thing. This came up in one of my mastermind calls recently. Am I being annoying? Right? Am I being annoying? Here's the thing. At one time, or several times in history, people have invented or discovered the cure for deadly diseases. Right? There are diseases now on Earth that in the past were deadly to humans that have been totally or almost totally eradicated. And do you think, audience, that the person or people that discovered, the cure or the treatment or the prevention for these deadly diseases that have now been eradicated, do you think the question crossed their mind when they were trying to get word out about how to use this? Am I being annoying? Am I being obnoxious? Are people going to be so tired of hearing about the cure for polio, the prevention? Are they going to just be like, oh, the polio guy again? Oh, shut up. So annoying. No, obviously not. Right. And the same is true for coaches and your clients. You are never being annoying ever to the people who need your help, whose quality of life will improve when they work with you, but they can't work with you until they know you exist. They know that you know what you're talking about and you've demonstrated authority. And this question, the reason I'm kind of emphasizing this a little bit here is because it comes up, I think, in a lot of coaches' minds at some point or multiple times in their career when they're thinking, okay, am I posting too much? Am I saying too much? I got this little bit of pushback on that post that I made from this hater. So should I say less, or should I try to be, less intrusive? No, right?
Yeah.
You have, if you're a coach, if you're a service provider, you have a service that is vitally important to somebody. So stop caring what the people, the other people think, because that somebody out there, those people, those future clients need that message. They need you to be borderline obnoxious. They need you to be bold in getting the word out so that they can find you.
Yeah. And the more you talk about it, the more you show up, the more you put that information out there, the more people are then going to start to pay attention. Yeah. Because if you're only showing up once in a while talking about this thing because you're afraid of being annoying, no one is going to hear your message.
Yeah. Yeah. Metaphorically every day, multiple times a day. Metaphorically. I'm not saying never take vacations or days off or whatever, but your messaging needs to be repeated and perpetuated basically constantly. And again, I'm not saying be on social media making posts 24 hours a day. No. There are systems and mechanisms that can make this easy. But be discoverable, be bold.
Yeah. This is probably an old statistic, but people have to hear your message like 7 times in order to even pay attention.
The number gets higher every year. It's called touch points, right? They need X number of touch points before they'll buy. It used to be 3, then it was 7, then it was 9. Probably it's up in the double digits now.
Well, yeah. And now that we're so inundated every day with so much information, we turn off a lot too. We don't take in as much information either because there's just so much. Yeah. So the more you're showing up, the more you're talking about your specific zone of genius, the more people are going to start to listen to you. But if you just go away, so are the people that need to hear your message.
Yeah.
And the other thing on that annoying point is like, do you get annoyed? Right? Like you have to think about like your own consumption. Like when you are following someone that you really love, or like, you've found your new IG crush that you're just like, can't get enough of that content, right? Are you sitting there being like, oh my God, they're so annoying.
Yeah.
Like, why do they keep talking about this stuff that I love so much?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
There's one or two like YouTube accounts that I follow. And I just like anytime they put out a video, as soon as I notice it's up, I'll watch it. Right.
totally.
And if it's like every 3 days, every now and like, and some people post like twice a week, like some really good famous YouTubers will post twice a week. And every now and then I'll pop open YouTube and it'll be like not one of their posting days. And I'll be like, oh, did so-and-so post anything today? And it's like, no. And it's like, I know their posting schedule. I know they're consistent, but there's still this like little bit of disappointment. Never is it the opposite. Never do I go on YouTube and my favorite YouTuber like posted an extra video when I didn't expect it. And I was like, oh, who does this person think they are, like posting extra content when I wasn't expecting it? But never, because I'm a true fan, right? And if it's a YouTuber that I'm not that interested in, I don't care how much they post or don't post, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So keep that in your mind. Just, and this actually came up for me recently because in March, I ran an experiment where I was like, I'm going to post 3 times a day and I'm just going to be unapologetic about it. Yeah. And, I had those feelings like, oh, people are going to think I'm annoying. Like, am I posting too much? Is 3 times a day like too much? And honestly, there was zero pushback. No one messaged me and was just like, God, Alana, what's going on with you? Yeah. In fact, I got more engagement, more reach, more impressions, more visitors to my website, more visits to my profile, more DMs, more comments. So there you go. Like that just goes to show that the more you're showing up and the more people are going to start noticing you. Okay. I think we made our point on that.
Okay. On that one. Yeah. Okay. So what is it that holds people back from being bold? We have this shared document that you put together with some really good questions here. Mm-hmm. One that sticks out to me is how can you serve people more? This is a really good question that people could ask themselves. How can I serve people more? How can I get my important, vital service in front of the eyeballs of more people right now, today? What could I do? If I knew and I congruently believed that it's really important to somebody out there for them to find out about me and my service, which, by the way, that is true, what would I do to get the word out there right now? Right. Yeah.
And like to add on to that question, it's like, if I wanted to serve more people and I didn't care about like the strategies or like how to be a high ticket coach or what I should or shouldn't be doing, what would I be doing to serve? And some ideas, right, are, maybe you are responding to people's comments, right, on Instagram. Maybe you're just showing up live because you're so excited about like something specific that you want to just get out there. Maybe you're like direct messaging people just to be like, how about we jump on a Zoom call and I do like a free session with you or something like that. Like, we said, I think as you're getting further down that coaching path, or you're maybe just starting out, you start to get in your head about like what you should and shouldn't be doing. But really where your mindset should be going is like, how can I serve as many people as possible? Because once you start doing that, then everything else kind of like fills in.
Yeah.
Right.
Very true. What else have we got on this list? How can I get in front of more people? How can you get in front of more people? If you're sitting around and like sales are not coming in, new clients are not coming in, and you find yourself wishing, there was more revenue, I would ask you, have you done everything you can to not only get in front of more people, but to nurture the connection with the people who are in your existing following, right? And so I'll have, coaches say, just not, the people aren't DMing me. And nobody wants to do cold DMs these days. And by the way, I think I don't do them either. Like I don't DM strangers and say, hey, do you want, hypnosis marketing training? But in between cold leads and hot leads are warm leads, people who follow you, people who've shown you interest, but you've never had a conversation with, right? If you're sitting around bored and you don't have a full client roster, why are you not sending DMs to the people who like your content and comment on your content, just thanking them for doing that and asking them if they have any questions? Why not? Yeah. Right? Why not? A person who's bold in getting their message out into the world would do that, would they not?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, just the other day, I was on a live with a woman, and someone from her community ended up following me, and we do the same type of work. So I sent her a voice note just to be like, "Hey, it's so great. I love connecting with other, coaches who are working in the same niche as me, and thanks so much for following me." And she sent me a voice note back and was just like, "That's so lovely. Thank you so much for that voice note. Like, do you do that with all the people who start following you?" And I don't, right? But when someone from my niche follows me, I take that, like, I think that's cool. You know what I mean? And I have a lot of respect for them. And I'm excited because I want to connect with more people that are doing the same work as me. So,
So
that was kind of a bold move on my part.
somebody
So,
who's bold would be perfectly willing to send a voice memo to a new follower or even a video message to a new
yeah,
follower. I get those sometimes, right?
yeah,
Now, here's the thing. If you're going to send somebody a voice memo, here's a little sidebar. If you're going to send somebody a voice memo or a video message, especially if it's a new follower or something, make sure you say their name in it. Make sure you say their name in it so they know that you made it for them. It's not just a video you created and you send it to a million people a day, right?
good tip. Yeah,
Because one of these will build rapport, one of these will get you an eye roll. Nobody
yeah,
wants to feel like they're getting canned content
yeah.
DM'd to them, but they will feel really special, if you send them a note that's obviously uniquely for them, voice memo or video memo, or even a text.
Totally. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's always so obvious when it's like a canned message and you're just like, how many people have you sent this to today?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and hey, respect, because probably it works. You send a canned video to 1,000 people, right? 3 are going to reply, right? But
True.
if you send a unique and genuine, voice memo or video to an individual who's followed you, for sure it's going to build rapport. There's a high probability it's going to be a great conversation starter, and who knows where it's going to go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So where do you
Oh,
want to go next?
I
I mean,
just
there's so many questions here.
I know where I want to go next. What are you thinking about and not sharing?
I like it.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Which reminds me of, what do you think you could do to be bold that you're not doing? Right?
Yeah.
What are you thinking about? What do you think your audience might benefit from hearing, but you're not putting it out there? Right? Like Alana and I, before we hit record on this episode, we were talking about how people will spend a huge chunk of time, money, and energy to start a traditional business with like a moderate earning potential, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the example was like, to get a vendor license and buy a hot dog stand in a major city, it could cost you $100,000 or $150,000, right?
Mhm.
Between insurance and to get the ball rolling, to go out and make a few $100s a day in hot dog sales, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the coaching industry where it's like, people, sometimes people don't want to spend a couple of $1,000s on business coaching for themselves or on certification training for themselves if they need it or whatever, but also they want to earn, a 6-figure coaching income, right?
Yeah.
The reason I'm saying this is like, that's something that, that's a topic that probably a lot of coach trainers and a lot of mentors think about, but don't necessarily talk a lot about, because it can be polarizing, right?
Yeah.
But people need to hear it. People need to hear it. You got, there's the old adage, you got to spend money to make money. And in 2023, you need to hypothetically spend less than ever before to start a business because of the way technology has developed. And yet people still don't want to invest in their own future, really, is what it is. Anyways, that's a tangent, and that's just an example of, if we were going to be bold, we would probably unapologetically talk about that, right?
Totally. Yeah. And I think it's important to kind of like just sit down and meditate on, what do I really want to say? Right. Or what you could do is like write a post and then say to yourself, what am I really trying to say here? Like, what is the underlying message of like what I'm trying to say? And then say that, because your content can get really, really boring when you're just kind of like regurgitating all the stuff that you're already seeing online. And that's how you're going to stand out. And that's how you're going to be bold, when you're saying what you really want to say rather than just kind of like putting out this vanilla content. Let's call it that.
Yeah. I mean, what is gonna make you stand out? Or in other words, like, what are you able to do that most people are not willing to do?
Yeah.
Because, and then again, this is another great, it's a cliche, but it's absolutely true. As an entrepreneur, you need to be willing to do what other people are unwilling to do so that you can live the life that other people will never be able to live. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's accepting the risk of, self-employment / entrepreneurship is one of those. And like, here's something that I'm doing right now, which only a bold person would do. I'm doing a candid, unscripted, unplanned interview with a different coach or a different person in this industry every day, Monday to Friday, for several weeks in a row. Every day, Monday to Friday, for several weeks in a row, I'm just hitting live on Instagram with somebody with no plan, with no script, with not even predetermined questions. And I'm the one that's hosting it. So the onus is on me to make it interesting for the audience and allow this person to get their message out there, and bring value to my followers and their followers. Most people would not be willing to do that, right? It's a bold move, but is the return on investment for them, for me, and for the people, receiving value in the audience more than worth it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And by all means, everybody, steal my idea. Anything you see me do, model it, right? Model it. If you think it's a good idea, it's going to work for you, do it.
Yeah.
Boom. Bold.
I love it.
Elena makes, you're very bold.
I am bold.
You're pretty darn bold.
You
seem to be getting bolder and bolder, as your business develops.
I am. Yeah. It's definitely serving me. I'm just trying to think. The more that I push the envelope, the more people tend to pay attention, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
And I'm in a very interesting niche in that there's a lot of like intimacy coaches out there, a lot of relationship coaches. There's a lot of dating information, a lot of stuff like that. And what I'm noticing is, because I follow a lot of them, there's so much regurgitated content.
Yeah.
Right. And I can see right through it. And so I like to kind of like scour the content and find these places where I can be bold, where I can say things that no one else is saying, but I know everyone is thinking, because that's how you get people to stop the scroll. Right.
Yeah.
And just being you, right? Like, what I feel like when I think back to like when I had my fabric store, for example, I honestly didn't care. Like, I would just post anything. And sometimes it had nothing to do with fabric. It would just be about my life or whatever. And like, that's how I grew my community, was because I was just being me. I was just going online and talking about stuff and then being like, oh, by the way, I've got this fabric, but people resonated with my personality and they resonated with me and what I was sharing. And they also happened to like fabric. Right. And so you want to do the same thing with your coaching business. It's like, you want to show up as you show up as like, what do you believe in about what you coach about? What do you like feel really passionately about? Like, what opinions do you have on whatever it is you're coaching about? And be unapologetic about that. That's being bold, right? Like, that is putting yourself out there and being like, waving your own flag to be like, I want to insert myself in this conversation and I'm not going to sound like everybody else.
Yeah.
I think that is like super important.
Cool. I agree. Okay. We got to
wrap it up. But one thing, the one question also that I love is like, what are you thinking about and not sharing? Like, really think about that, because like, say, for example, you're scrolling Instagram and you're like, you have this thought that comes to mind, but you're like, oh, I couldn't share that on Instagram. Share that. Make a little note in your phone of like all the things that you think of that you're just like, nobody's talking about this, but I should talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if there are feelings of like shame or embarrassment or like fear of rejection that's coming up, like, do some clearing work on that.
Yeah. 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 That's it.
I think that's it.
Okay. So the message is, so we talked about what's bold. Why is it important? Well, I mean, at the end of the day, standing out is the name of the game.
Yeah.
You need to get your message and people to be, out there in front of the people who need you, right? So that
Yeah.
because they don't know you exist and they don't know what the message is and they don't know that you have the solution that they're looking for, they're not going to invest in your coaching or your service, right? That's the name of the game. And being bold, we talked a lot about different examples. It's an attitude. It's things you do. It's a willingness to show up. It's a willingness to be unapologetic. Arnold Schwarzenegger famously said, "Do not break the laws, break the rules, and break all the rules." Right? And I agree.
Yes.
Do things. Ask questions. Ask people to share your content. Call the local news station and ask if they'll put you on TV. It doesn't hurt to ask, to be bold, to try things that other people have never tried or whatever, or try things that other people have tried at and failed. Maybe it'll work for you, right?
Yeah.
You're on a mission to help people, to transform lives. Let nothing stand in your way.
Yeah. And I like that too. There are no rules. There's no rules when it comes to creating content, putting yourself out there, promoting yourself, being bold. It comes back to that question that we asked at the beginning is like, how could you serve more?
Yeah.
Right. I just kind of came up with an idea that I think we should insert into season 3. And that is, should we give homework?
Should we give homework?
Or challenge?
Or a challenge?
Yeah. To the listeners.
Well, I mean, now you've said it. Now the cat's out of the bag. So hear that, listeners? Here's your homework.
I'm being bold.
She's being bold. No, you're right. Why not? Speed of implementation is really important. From the time you learn something new or you hear a new concept or you have some kind of shift to the time you action it, the shorter the better, audience. So if you're hearing this and you're like, yeah, this makes sense, I should be bold. And you're like, maybe in a month. No, like right now, starting today, do something bold and send Alana and me a message, or send the It's the No Excuses podcast Instagram a message, and let us know how you're being bold starting right now.
Yeah. Or even better, tag us in your post. Tag it. Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's the No Excuses.
Yeah. Cool. Do it. I'm going to add one caveat. Don't break the laws, break the rules, and don't get kicked off of social media platforms. Right?
Well, yeah.
you want to respect the platform that's giving you the opportunity to share information, right? So, metaphorically break the rules. I'm not saying necessarily literally go out and break every rule. Yeah, I think that's common sense, but
yeah,
maybe
and be politically correct.
Yeah,
maybe.
be respectful to all humans. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. All animals and all life. Be respectful to all life. Okay. Boom. We got it. Be bold. It really is. I'm going to say it one more time. This really is one of the key determining factors, the differences between a successful, thriving coach/entrepreneur and everyone else.
Yeah. And I think one other little thing that I would love to challenge the listeners with is find someone that you can model, that you follow, that you really love, who is bold, and, really look at their content, look and see what they're doing and how they're being bold, and then transpose that onto your own business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't copy, but model. Good idea.
Yeah. You don't have to copy it, but use it as an inspiration, right? Yeah. Who do you love that's being bold and showing up? And imagine yourself showing up in the way they're showing up.
Boom. Got it.
Okay. So that wraps up episode 1.
There's episode 1. Be bold. Boldness.
Yeah.
Episode.
And we've just got a couple of things that we want to share. One thing is for this season, we want to help promote your businesses. Yeah. And so the idea that we came up with was you can sponsor an episode.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in sponsoring an episode, send us a message. Send either Ryan a message or me a message, or our Instagram at It's the No Excuses podcast a message, and just use the word sponsorship. And we'll get back to you with information about what that might look like.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about you. We'll mention your name. We'll talk about what you do on an episode. We'll share contact information.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'd be helping out the podcast if you like the podcast.
Yeah.
Win-win.
It's a win-win for everyone.
And it's less expensive than you are thinking, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's going to be like under $20.
Yeah, I very accessible sponsorship. As the audience size continues to grow up for the podcast, probably that'll get higher. So better to get in earlier, because then remember, it'll always be in the recording. So a year from now, when we have 500,000 subscribers and they're listening to the back catalog of episodes, your contact info is going to be there, which will be nice. Yeah. So sponsorship, go buy a mug. Somebody buy a mug on the merch store.
Yeah, we're waiting.
For goodness.
Whoever makes the first purchase is going to get something. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to celebrate that person. Be bold.
We'll give them We'll give them an endorsement on the episode for free. If you buy a mug, if you're the first person to buy a mug from our store or t-shirt, or anything from our merch store, you get a free endorsement. We'll endorse you here at the podcast again, and then it goes in the catalog, the back catalog of episodes, and it's always there.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we talked sponsorship, merch. What else? We got to wrap it up here. What else? What do you got going on?
I think that's it. What do I have going on? I've got my Embrace program. It just launched yesterday. It was amazing. Week 1 is down, but there's still time to sign up. You can, all the weeks are recorded, so you can jump in at any point. So you can go to my website, alanabanks.com/embrace to get more info on that.
Yeah. And for me, I'm getting deeper into the world of sales and social media and online presence training for coaches and hypnotists and online service providers. So, I'm moving it now into this space where I'm going to be helping you turn social media strangers into happy paying clients using ethical subconscious strategies so you can spend less time posting and more time serving. So make sure you're following me on Instagram at Ryan Montes NLP. I've got a really exciting membership program that's going to be very accessible, but very high value coming up for people that want to be in that world. Because, you took your coach training, you took your coach certification, you started your business, you took hypnosis training. So you have an edge in coaching people. You should also have an edge in attracting clients too, should you not? And that's the name of the game. So that's what I've got going on. Lots more coming on that. And that's it.
Awesome. All
cool.
right.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.